Welcome, friends. How's everybody doing tonight? We got Mignon in the house. What's up, girl? Bobby White. How we doing? Rosaling. Yeah, guys. Yeah, I'm a little fired up tonight, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Joan Brown. It's good to see you. It's been a long time. Yeah, I'm a little fired up, man. And I think I got a lot to say about a little subject here. Cinnamon hot, hot, hot. So I hope you guys are comfortable. And what's really funny is I'm gonna be 150% honest with you guys. I don't know much about this case. I'm not really going to be discussing this case much. I am going to be discussing media hype. And because that's really actually what's concerning me the most. We are in really, really difficult, strange, uncharted times right now, people. And yes, Rosaling, I did see John Crimes's video, and as a matter of fact, I am going to be dropping the link to that video right now. So this, guys, is the link to John Crimes's video on this subject. So it's real important, guys, that you do learn the facts about this case, because this is going to be a very interesting case. This is already a very interesting case. But the fact of the matter is I don't know that much about it. So the reason why I'm dropping the link to John Crimes's video on it is if you want to know the facts and details on this case and what and where it's at so far, you want to watch that video and you want to follow John Crimes. And yes, Rosaling, I agree. It's a great video. And he did an excellent job with it. But I am hey, Breakfast Club fan. I am a bit perturbed, as it were, right now, as far as what's going on in the media. Also, I'm going to be I'm going to be discussing something real quick before I get into all that. I yesterday was kind of disturbing regarding YouTube, and I'm not involved in any drama with any of these people that are involved in what's going on. I don't know who's doing what or what's going on. All I know is Carolyn, Mommy Ramblings blog, she went live yesterday, and she addressed some people, and I feel that I need to say something here, because two of the people who she mentioned are moderators for me. And before I get into any of that, I'm going to very publicly say that anyone who is giving Mommy Ramblings blog, Carolyn and Jimmy, if they are giving them a hard time, this is something that I do not condone. This is something that I do not endorse. This is something that I do not, I don't abide by. So this is a very, very serious thing. This woman and this man, this husband and wife, lost their eldest son. And the fact of the matter is, honestly, guys, I don't even know how it happened, because the truth is, it's really none of my business. All I know is there are two people that this community respects and cares about very much. And I've never seen her do anything to anyone. I've never seen her target anyone and try to make their lives more difficult any more than any other YouTuber on here does. But I think I saw her do that once with Jewels of Thought, and it was the most gracefully done thing I've ever seen in my life, the way that she handled that. And from that moment on, she earned my respect. And then people swatted this poor woman, this poor family. And it infuriated me to the point to where I got the news while I was on a live stream, like I am now. I got the news as it happened, and then Jimmy showed up in my chat, and I basically, explained how I feel about that sort of thing, um, and yet trying to, be as comforting and respectful as I possibly could, because I felt kind of honored that they showed up in my chat, or that he did, to let my listeners know that she was okay and everybody was okay. And then so I went into her live stream after mine, and I had the pleasure of having a conversation with her on a panel along with Ben Cab7, who I love and respect very, very much. And I love his channel. So you guys should check him out if you want some very beautiful, inspiring stuff. And I also had the pleasure of conversing with Duty Ron. And Duty Ron also posted a live stream yesterday about this. And I couldn't have said it better myself, the way that he address the situation, which is just leave this woman alone. Leave her alone. Leave Jimmy alone. Let them mourn in peace. And if they, if you're critical about the fact that they're, that she goes live and she's, I mean, yeah, the truth is, I'm going to be totally honest. I think that I'm the kind of guy, just my personality. If something happened to one of my kids, and I don't know how I'd handle that, because that's never happened to me. Thank goodness. So all I can do is have empathy for people who have. And me personally, I visualize myself just kind of cutting myself off from everybody. But Duty Ron made a good point where he said that, the support of her listeners, her YouTube channel is very, very important to her. And the support of her listeners is probably what's comforting her right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that. Just because it's not something that I would do, I don't see anything wrong with that. And again, I don't know if that's not what I would do. I've never been in that situation. So none of you have ever really been in that situation. And I hope to God that you don't, honestly. And I'm of the opinion that whoever's doing this stuff, right? Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Before I continue, I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say I don't know of anything that's gone on other than what I've seen Carolyn talk about on her channel. I don't know of anything that's going on other than what Duty Ron addressed. And I spoke briefly with Save Robbie. And I am proud to call Save Robbie a friend. And I do believe that Save Robbie, I will vouch for his character. As far as I know, I don't imagine Save Robbie doing something like giving Mommy Ramblings blog a hard time at a time like this in any way, shape, or form. I just don't see it. And when he tells me that he didn't have anything to do with it, I believe him. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe him. And Breakfast Club fan I have not spoken to, but she's a great moderator for me, and I don't get the indication that she is the type of person, otherwise she would not be a moderator for me. And I don't get the indication that she's the type of personality that would do that. Now, having said that, guys, and I don't mean to call you out, but I want to be very public when I say something like this. The type of people who are doing this, you should know that the type of company you keep, unfortunately, this is an example of the type of company that you keep reflects on you in some way, shape, or form. Why do you think I blocked Limonade? Limonade didn't do anything to me, but there's a pattern with her and the type of people that she associates with. And so I blocked her. She's not welcome in my chats. And it's not because of anything other than her track record. I don't want to be associated with people who engage in this type of behavior. So um my advice, guys, is, you know, be more mindful of the type of people that you associate yourselves with, because then things like this happen. And I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not blaming you for being falsely accused of anything, and I'm not saying that you are, because again, I don't know if you had anything to do with it or not. That your character to me speaks of people who I don't think would. Otherwise, like I said, you wouldn't be moderators for me, and I wouldn't call you friends. And I'm proud to call both of you my friends, honestly. And I don't mind saying that publicly here. Not at all. I'm proud to say it. So um but yeah, I you know, people who you associate yourselves with, man, that's gonna affect, there's it just is what it is. um so I would just be mindful of the type of people that you associate yourself with, and the type of things. YouTube is a platform where we um what our image is as individuals. When we have channels, that's up to us and how we project it. And if you have an image of someone who just thinks it's funny to make fun of someone whose channel you can't really relate to, but make fun of the fact that she lost a child, and you think that's funny, you think it's fun to make fun of them for that. I mean, it's not it's not funny at all. And that's why I'm careful here, because I want a certain type of subscriber. I don't want I don't want numbers. I don't care about having a shit ton of subscribers, to the point to where I just spew out nonsense, you know, uh, in order to get them. Uh, I want people that I can have conversations with. I want people who are going to contribute. This channel is not just for me, it's for everyone subscribed to it. For everyone who gets involved in my chat and contributes to my chat. I absolutely love that. And I love having that interaction. To me, that's worth a million times more than a million subscribers who I'm having to put on a certain persona and be shocking to. That's the easy road, man. I don't want to do that. I could do that. That's easy. But I don't want to do that. I want to try to inspire people. I want to have meaningful conversations with people. I want to have exchanges with people where I spew out my opinions and then they give me back theirs in my chat. I love that. I like to be challenged. I like to challenge others. But this kind of behavior is, I mean, it's beyond childish. I mean, so, guys, for those of you who associate yourselves with people who behave like this on this platform, uh, you know, I would suggest, redefining the nature of your association with these people. That would be my advice. So, anyway, moving on, guys. I now I do not know very much about the Ahmaud Arbery case. I really don't. I know the bullet points of it, and but like I said, I'm going to continue to hold on a second here. I'm going to continue to drop John Crimes's link, the link to John Crimes's video on this case. Because again, I'm not going to be going over details of this case because I have not followed it very much. But one thing that I have experienced is the hype. And I'm going to discuss that. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. You might, if you were to accuse me of using this case and using his name as clickbait, you would not be incorrect in that, because I'm going to discuss something else that I think as of now, not overall, but as of now, is of more importance. And the fact of the matter is, I get on Facebook, this thing blows up, and everybody in my, all my liberal friends especially are all over it. They're all over it. I'm already in a debate with somebody in a thread when, a girl who's one of the most liberal people I know, one of the kindest, sweetest, most talented people that I know, but one of the most liberal people that I know. And she posts one of those GIFs that say Black Lives Matter going over and over and over again, just scrolling down, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And that's fantastic, right? It's great because Black lives do matter. Of course they do. And I am one of those people that say all lives matter. And the reason why, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't misunderstand. I want to be clear. I don't misunderstand the significance of the Black Lives Matter movement. Because apparently there's that, and I'm not going to get into the statistics on this or whatnot, but it's because it's felt, it is the opinion that Black people are targeted by police and law enforcement mostly. I'm not going to say one way or the other. I'm just going to say, because I don't know, honestly, I really don't know. But I am going to say that the over sensationalism of this particular case is a sign of a bad thing, in my personal opinion, because right now the timing seems messed up. The timing seems like there's a political agenda behind it. There's an election coming up in November. And everyone's looking for, everybody's upset right now because conservatives are protesting the quarantines and they're carrying guns. But here's the thing about that. Do I agree with a lot of these protesters as far as what they're protesting? To a certain degree, yes, I do. Now, are some of these people, or even most of them possibly, are they a bunch of racist redneck assholes? More than likely. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Now, do I agree with those views? Absolutely not. Not in the slightest bit whatsoever. But do I agree with their right to bear arms and protest in front of their state's capital peacefully? Absolutely. I completely and totally agree with that, even though I may not agree with what they have to say. But and even if what they have to say, many of them, because let's say there's a neo-Nazi movement, a protest, right? I'm of the opinion that they have the right to protest peacefully, just like anybody else. Now, even if what they say disgusts me, makes my stomach turn, then which is true, but I'm a patriot, and I'm such a patriot that I believe in their right to speak up. But the issue is that we, as a public, for some reason, we get fixated on one particular thing. Look at the Gannon Stock case. Look at the Chris Watts case. We get fixated on one thing, and we're forgetting what the root of the problem really is. Now, absolutely, racism is an issue. It's a serious issue. But I'm of the belief, personally, that hatred is the root of that issue. Ignorance is the root of that issue. So why aren't we focused on educating? Why aren't we focused more on self-educating so that we can put out into our environment more knowledge, more awareness? Why not focus on ourselves to set a better example? Because the fact of the matter is these people verbally have every right to verbally spew hate. They do. I mean, that's just the way it is. But if you, the thing is people say, oh, well, you can't do that. You cannot preach hate. What do you mean you can't? That's an emotion, right? Are you, do you have a right to your own human emotions? Sure. Now, an act of hatred, that's a different story. Now, as far as this young man's case goes, this poor young man, he was gunned down. It's probably overall an innocent guy. Now, according to John Crime's video, there's a possibility that he was up to no good, but that doesn't make him a bad person, and it certainly doesn't mean that he deserved to get gunned down in cold blood or however, because what he was up to seemed like, at worst, burglary. Now, as far as the legal thing, the legal ramifications go, now, like John says in his video, there should be, the trouble is with the laws. The trouble is with the laws in Georgia. So, but my big problem is when we focus on just one particular branch of hatred or racism, ignorance, we put all our focus on one thing just because it's the hot thing to do, just because it's the popular thing to talk about. Because make no mistake, things like this happen every day. Things like this happen every day, everywhere. Why is this one case the primary focus right now? Why is my Facebook news feed blown up with everything about this young man? Now, let's, as far as, it's like, who remembers Rodney King? I remember Rodney King. This is not the same thing as Rodney King. This isn't even close to the same thing as Rodney King. Rodney King got the press that it got because somebody, now, this was 1990, I believe. And I think it was, if I remember correctly, because I remember watching this and following it as a kid. And Rodney King, remember, this was at a time where we did not have cell phones. Everybody had a cell phone and it had a camera on it where you could just film something. Somebody just happened to catch with a handheld video camera, happened to catch several Los Angeles County Police Department officers beating the living shit out of this man, out of this black man. All white officers beating the shit out of this black man with nightsticks, kicking him while he was down, taking turns all at once. I mean, there was no disputing what was happening on that videotape. There was none whatsoever. And then they got away with it. And then the LA riots happened. And in my personal opinion, fucking rightfully so. The system failed. The system absolutely failed its people. Who the system works for. The system failed its people. And so the people acted accordingly. In my personal opinion, the people acted accordingly. Because what else were they going to do? Now, I'm not saying, let me retract that. I'm saying that they reacted understandably. They reacted understandably. You cannot blame them for behaving the way that they did and being as angry as they were. The people of Los Angeles. You cannot blame them. So this is a very, very sensitive subject. And I'm of the opinion that what bothers me, well, let me rephrase that. What actually concerns me the most right now, is the fact that people are still screaming justice about this case. They're still screaming justice about this case. But these two men, this father and son, they were arrested. They're in custody. They're charged. So let's watch this video too, real quick. Let's watch this video on this. Just so you can familiarize yourself a little bit with this if you're not totally sure what I'm talking about here.
Now to the new developments in the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, that young unarmed black man in Georgia. The state's attorney general is now asking the Justice Department to investigate the handling of the case as authorities review newly obtained surveillance video that appears to show him in the moments before the shooting. Steve Osunsami has the latest. He joins us this morning from Atlanta. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Robin. This state's attorney general is asking, of course, the U.S. Justice Department, as you said, to look into this case, but in particular, to look into the actions of the two prosecutors who did not issue charges in this case and who removed themselves from this investigation because of their connections to the two accused murderers, one of them a former police officer. State investigators who've taken over this case from county authorities are this morning looking at new videos that appear to show Ahmaud Arbery in the moments before he was shot and killed by Travis McMichael and his father Gregory, who spent a career in law enforcement working for local prosecutors. The two were charged.
Now, you see what they did there? Just now, do you see what they did there? What that reporter just said? He had to point out that they spent a career working for local prosecutors. Now, that to me was a very, very subtle way of painting a picture and creating a narrative that these men will probably get away with this, and it's a crime, and these men will probably get away with this. Now, it has yet to be determined, according to John Crimes' video, which is the only thing that I've watched so far as the facts on the case so far. But according to his video, he's saying that he's not 100% sure a crime was even committed. And in his opinion, it was not race related. So I'm interested as far as that goes, why the media is subtly painting a picture that it is to cause up a stir. Why is that? Why do they do that?
With murder last week, nearly 2.5 months after this killing was recorded on a cell phone in February. They say they were trying to make a citizen's arrest when they say this young black man fought them. According to police, the McMichaels told them they thought that Arbery looked like someone who was seen breaking into neighborhood homes. But this morning, those same police shared that there were no reports of burglaries or thefts in that area in the 2 months before Arbery was killed. This surveillance video, obtained by our Atlanta affiliate WSB, will certainly be part of the debate. It was recorded shortly before Arbery was killed and shows a man walking into an open home construction site and looking around. Arbery's family attorneys say they believe this second video, obtained by ABC News, does show the 25-year-old former football player in that home under construction. but they underline that he wasn't breaking the law and left empty-handed.
Whatever they trying to make out to just try to justify for what they did, they can't do it.
In a statement overnight, the owners of that home under construction make it very clear they had nothing to do with the young man's death and say that they want Ahmaud Arbery's parents to know that they are very sorry for the loss of their son and they are praying for them. The family says they have no relationship with the McMichaels and would have never wanted what they call a vigilante response. The family that owns that home where that home was being built, the construction site, says that when they looked at the video, they weren't even sure that it was Arbery. Arbery was seen out jogging that day. It is a mostly white neighborhood, and authorities tell us that the only police report that they have in the area from around the shooting was a gun theft from a car, and that home where that happened was the home of Travis McMichael, one of the two men accused of murder. Michael.
Oh, boy. Okay, Steve, thank you so much for that.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robert.
Okay, so, there's a lot in that video that John Crimes kind of disputes, to say the least. When I said earlier that you could accuse me of using this as clickbait and it wouldn't be a lie, you wouldn't be wrong. I'm not saying it is clickbait, but I'm not going to argue with you if you say it is. It's basically what I'm trying to say. Because my big issue is, as I said earlier, these things happen all the time. Where was all the hype? Where was all the hype when Mandy Gorsuch was mowed down with a pickup truck for being an openly gay woman in a gay marriage?
Death. Mandy Gorsuch was walking in downtown Guthrie Saturday night and then sped off. She was 34 years old. News Force Kate Smith talked to her family today, and Kate not frustrated.
Yeah, as you can imagine, Mandy Gorsuch's family is heartbroken about what happened Saturday night. But police aren't giving them much information other than she was hit by a pickup truck and the person responsible is still out there.
She was a very giving, loving person. She was everything that me and my middle sister were not.
A young mother and wife. Mandy Gorsuch's brother says she had a way of making connections with people, letting everyone she encountered know they mattered.
She was special. Everything she did, there wasn't a stranger to her in this world, the whole world.
But over the weekend, the light and laughter of the family was tragically taken. The 34-year-old was hit and killed a block away from the Guthrie Police Department. The man witnesses say is responsible sped off in his pickup truck before emergency crews arrived.
There's no closure. There's no closure when something like this happens. None.
Mandy died on the way to the hospital. Her brother says she was out with friends Saturday night, but that's all he knows, telling us the police are being tight-lipped about the investigation.
That makes everything harder to deal with because we have so many questions. And we're just trying to take it minute by minute, second by second.
But what this grieving family does know, they want the person responsible to face the consequences for what happened to their beloved sister.
I just want justice. Just like anybody else would. I just want justice.
Guthrie police say they have identified the pickup and the person responsible. They expect to have criminal charges filed in Logan County later this week. The suspect's name is not being released until those charges are formally filed.
People, there's an agenda in the media. There just is. And this was absolutely a hate crime. This was a hate crime committed against a very beautiful white woman. Where was all the media? If racism against black people is the biggest problem right now, then why wasn't there national coverage of this crime? Because here's the thing about that is this man has yet to be charged. Zachary Simmons, the driver of that truck, has yet to be charged with even manslaughter. They didn't pick this man up until the next day. Witnesses saw him run Mandy over with his truck after screaming homophobic slurs at her. Apparently, according to him, she had some sort of club or something, and he was worried about damage to his truck. He was quoted in saying that he was worried about the damage to his truck, that she was going to attack his truck. And so what he does, he runs her over with his truck. Why isn't anybody talking about this? Why hasn't anybody been talking about this except me since October? And this man's still walking around. Now, I angrily, if you guys are, if there's anybody here who's actually friends with me on Facebook, which I don't think there really are, except for maybe one or two of you. But when I saw my newsfeed bombarded with Ahmaud Arbery's story, it immediately made me think of Mandy Gorsuch. It immediately made me think of that. How nobody cares. And everybody's big thing right now is that racism against black people is the biggest problem right now. And I'm not saying that it's not a problem. It's absolutely a problem. It's horrible. But hatred in general is a much bigger problem because the media is going to cherry pick these cases and get you to bite and follow. That's what they're going to do. So is the problem just the media? No. The problem's not just the media. The problem is the consumer. The problem is absolutely the consumer. I mean, I remember I'd walk through the grocery store or whatever my whole life, as far back as I can remember, and I'd be in the line for to check out, and right there, you can't help it. You look and you read the headlines on these tabloid magazines that are in the checkout line, and they're ridiculous headlines. They're asinine. And you giggle and you go, Jesus, like, and then I remember being young and naive and thinking, man, they how do they have the integrity? I mean, who has the lack of integrity to print that crap and sell it? Well, the fact of the matter is the manufacturer of a successful product is only successful because of their consumer. That's it. If you assholes weren't so quick to buy that crap, then it wouldn't be out there. Because everybody just wants the dirt, and they want to just latch on to whatever the hell is out there and whatever's popular so that they have something to talk about with, you know, other people, so they can somehow seem, you know, hip and with it to immediate people in their lives. And I mean, that's just what it boils down to. I mean, let's face it, folks. That's just what it boils down to. Social bullshit. And this is what it's gotten to. Social bullshit has gotten to the point that it runs us. It runs us. It has an effect on our society to where we give a shit about this person, but we don't give a shit about that person only because it's the popular thing to talk about, or it's not the popular thing to talk about. Why hasn't Zachary Simmons been put in handcuffs and charged with at least manslaughter? If not a hate crime, if not first-degree murder. Why? Why hasn't that happened? If we all care so much, thank you, Breakfast Club fan, for dropping that link, then why aren't we focused on actually signing a petition where we can actually make a difference and sign a petition to have this person, Zachary Simmons, charged with murder, to where he pays for his crime and pays for what he's done to Mandy and her family and friends? When, I mean, let's face it, the case that everybody's in an uproar about right now all over Facebook, that case, those guys are charged. They got a court date coming up. So why are we still talking about it? Why are we beating that dead horse? Can't do nothing till it goes to court. So for my new subscribers, now my earliest subscribers and listeners, they're very familiar about how passionate I am about this case because I've been talking about it since November. And it's been a very regular thing that we drop the link here to sign that petition. So I urge anybody who's new to this channel, and I'm grateful for you guys for subscribing. I've gained a lot of subscribers in the last few days. And it's a really, really nice feeling. I appreciate everybody who's enjoying the channel. But here right now, I'm giving everyone an opportunity to actually contribute to making a difference and actually doing something constructive, actually doing something productive towards getting justice for a murdered victim of a hate crime and her family. She was a wife. And in this buttfuck town of Oklahoma, I mean, you know, nobody gave a shit. It's all of us who follow cases like this where we're passionate about justice, aren't we? Isn't this why we follow these true crime cases, guys? Because we're passionate about justice? Because I know that's what I know that's why I do it. I know that's why I do it. And Kay, welcome. I know that's why Kay does it. Kay's one of those people that digs. She digs down deep to the root of the problem. Because she knows that you're just chucking arrows at a steel wall when you're just focused on the surface problem. So she digs deep and she exposes these things for us to be able to think about and talk about so that real change can actually happen. We can realize that it's not just a very tunnel vision type situation. There's a much larger picture. And it's important to get that large picture into perspective, folks. So we get that large picture into perspective, people, and then we just start making changes, man. We can do that. We can do that. Call me naive if you want. That's cool. I mean, I get that shit all the time. You know, John Crimes thinks I'm naive. He calls me an idealist. That's cool. I'll take that. I've been called a lot worse. But, you know, right now you have an opportunity. You're so caught up in this case, and everybody's so quick to stand up on their fucking Facebook soapbox and preach, you know, Black Lives Matter and blah blah blah. And you know, Black lives do matter, absolutely, for sure, but other lives matter too. I mean, and what isn't a hate crime? What is not a hate crime? Come on, guys. Like, you're going to tell me that Letitia Stock murdering Gannon was not a hate crime? She did not hate that boy? That was pure rage. That was pure hatred. As far as what we know about it so far, she still has her day in court coming up. But as far as what we know about it, allegedly, as far as we know about the details of the crime itself, what we know so far, to me, that shit adds up as a hate crime. That boy was hated by this woman. What about the 11-year-old boys? What about these kids right now? Nobody's talking about that either. Nobody's talking about the fact that this quarantine is putting people, and people talked about it before and predicted it would happen, but it's happening. Domestic violence is up. Child abuse is up. Nobody wants to talk about that in the media. Nobody wants to talk about the little kid that's stuck with crackheads, stuck with alcoholics when the liquor stores are open. Gyms are closed, but liquor stores are open. Fast food joints are open. Come on, man. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, why isn't the fact that kids are being hurt by their parents, by the people that they trust the most? Women are being hurt by their spouse. Men are being hurt by their spouse. Nobody gives a shit. Because everybody wants to focus on the one thing because it's the popular thing to talk about. I don't know, man. I'm going to look over chat a little bit. So please, guys, if you have not, and Breakfast Club, keep dropping that link to Mandy's petition if you can, please. I really appreciate it. So anybody who's new and anybody who's listening and just hanging back, just open the chat for me, do me a favor, and click on that link and sign it. It only takes like 10 seconds. It's nothing. But it's where you can actually make a difference and actually bring justice. Hold on, I got a cat going crazy over here, y'all. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so please, Breakfast Club fan has been dropping the link for this petition to get Zachary Simmons charged with Mandy Gorsuch's murder. You know, to me, hate crime is a hate crime. Wicked Witch, yeah, you're late, but I mean, we chatted earlier. You said you was going to bed. It's all good. But it's really, really important that we focus on something that we can actually make a difference in. We actually have a voice. Why are we wasting it on something where the wheels are already in motion to get justice? Why not move on to something else? If we really care so much, about making a difference, why not just let the dead horse lie and move on? Or at least the sleeping one, because it's not a dead horse. These people still have to be tried in court. And if they are guilty of what they're charged of, then absolutely, they should absolutely get the maximum sentence, in my opinion. Absolutely. But now there's nothing we can do about it. We know it's a problem. We're aware. So why not move on to a case that still requires our voices to speak up and get justice? Hey, German lady, what's going on? Thank you, Cinnamon Hot, Hot, Hot. I appreciate that. Yeah, just Breakfast Club. Keep dropping that link. I appreciate it. Now, see, I disagree with that, Booze Love. Respect, morals, and values and common decency is not something people have anymore. I disagree with that statement because I think that another thing that this COVID-19 issue has done is actually shown, it's shown how shitty people can be, sure, but it's also shown how decent and thoughtful people can be as well. So I don't regret any of this happening at all. I'm not sitting here going, none of this should have happened, blah, 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 and going crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I have my opinions on things. I have my opinions on the way things are being dealt with and the way things are being handled, sure. But the thing is you got to look at the positives too, man. People are being thoughtful of one another. For the most part, people have been handling this in a very thoughtful manner towards their neighbor. And I'm proud to be part of that. So I don't agree necessarily that now I think that people are more entitled nowadays, that people are more likely to complain than actually take action and make a difference? Absolutely. And I think that the media caters to that. They encourage it, and then they feed you. If you're one of these type of people, they feed you with things to complain about. But make no mistake, it's because that's what people want. People would rather just sit and bitch and moan than actually take action. And I don't abide by that shit. Honestly, man, I just don't. And yeah, look, and y'all, if anybody wants to buy some cows, Wicked Witch is selling some cows. So I figured I'd hook you up, you know what I mean? Like, so Wicked Witch has the best cows. Buy Wicked Witch's cows. They'll I've never sold cows before, Wicked Witch. I'm doing the best that I can here for you. So this message of bullshit in the media was brought to you by Wicked Witch's cows. Go out and get a Wicked Witch cow. So going back to what we were talking about here, Caleb, My man Caleb's in the house. Let's see. He's saying it's popular to be offended these days. People are elbowing each other out of the way to be offended the most. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's 100% true. That it's now a competition of who's the most offended. I love that shit. I mean, that's the thing. Is to me, it for the most part, this shit makes me laugh. You know, the only reason I got so annoyed with this whole hype that's been going on is because nobody seemed to give a shit about Mandy. You know, when it happened. I mean, I can't help but think that you know, it's got something to do with November coming up and there being an election coming up. You know, it's funny to me because I actually had this argument with somebody on Facebook, and they were like, what, you know, how can you minimize such this to just being political? And I'm like, I'm not. You are. You know, your timing should have been better, man. Like, you know, you're talking about this shit now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny. It's just the way that shit is. You know, nobody's talking about school shootings anymore. Why? Because there hasn't been one in a while. You know what I mean? But is it not still a problem? Is there never going to be a school shooting again? Let's hope not. But chances are, yeah, there's going to be. There's going to be a public shooting. There's going to be a mass shooting at some point that's going to happen. I guarantee you. You know, why aren't we talking about it being a problem? Why aren't we talking about it's even Mental Health Awareness Month? And why aren't we talking about the mental health issues that stem towards mass shootings? So, because I'm going to tell you right now, this mental health crisis is not a dead horse. It might be to the people who are, you know, to use a cliche here, sheeple, who jump on a bandwagon and start talking about whatever's popular to talk about. But I promise you that the mental health crisis in this country is not a dead horse. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. And nobody's talking about it. But I'm saying if you're such a social media warrior, you know, if you're such a social media warrior, then address the problem. Don't address the problem that's already in the motions of being solved that you have no more control over. The public spoke and they got what they wanted. These two men are charged. Now it's up to the system. But until then, why not focus on why not stay on fire? That's my issue. That's why I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on you. Why not stay on fire on the issue and start looking into, even if it's a Black Lives Matter thing? Why am I not seeing more posts about, okay, well, this is happening too. And this, because I guarantee you something happened similar somewhere else. I guarantee you somewhere in the world, there's some sort of unjustified, racially driven, or you know, some if that's what we're talking about right now, that's what we're talking about right now. A racially driven crime. You're going to tell me that that's not happening somewhere in this country? And so why are we not moving on to the next thing and addressing that? Why are we focused on this one case? So that's why I call bullshit. That's why I call bullshit. So if you got so much to say, find something with substance that needs to be addressed at this point more than, prioritize. Because at this point, there's no control over what the public has in order to bring awareness to this particular case. It's already happening. These men are charged. They're awaiting a court date. That's it. Period. There's nothing else you can do. But you can talk about other cases. You can look into other issues. You can address them. You can use your power of having even 10 friends on Facebook. That's 10 people that were just made aware of an issue that isn't being addressed enough. Let's see. What happens is people have problems just taking care of their own business. That is why a lot of people don't vote. Racism is alive and well. So sad. Yeah. I agree. That's another issue right there. This is the stuff that I talked about. I talked about this last night, as a matter of fact. There's too many people are worried about, are focused on other people. I get it. Like, racism is definitely still an issue, for sure. It's a problem. But it's we've come a hell of a long way since slavery and the civil rights movement. We've come a hell of a long way. We know anybody with common sense, it's boiled down to ignorant, shit-kicking assholes who live in some rural area where they don't have any contact with the rest of the world, who still think this way. Society understands as a majority that there is no superior race. There is none. We are all capable of the same things. With enough effort and study, we are all capable of the same things. Each race is in religion and creed is all capable of achieving in any field. So, I mean, why not focus on these achievements? Why not make these things more the focus? I mean, there's a lot of great, beautiful things still happening out there, isn't there? I saw, and yeah, Mignon, right there. There it is. Life is a short story. Make it a good one. Make it a good one. You're the author of your own story. I'm the author of my own story. No one's to blame if it goes south and the good guy loses or the good guy becomes a bad guy. Only the author is to blame for that story heading in that direction. I mean, we're sorry about the dogs barking out there. See here, Booze Love saying, I help find missing people and I also work on cold cases for free. I am aware of the crimes in this world. People don't value human life. Well, those people don't value human life, but you're in a chat full of a bunch of people who do, right? See, that's my point right there. And I don't mean to single you out, and I'm not attacking you, Booze Love. I'm just, unfortunately, I am going to use the attitude driven to make this comment as an example. Too many of us are focused on how shitty the world is. Maybe we should try to have gratitude for how good the world is. Start thinking about things to be grateful for. I mean, that's literally what I try to do as much as I possibly can. I try to find things that I'm grateful for. Now, I'm not saying not to address problems. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, though, if more focus was on the things that we're grateful for, then what are we going to do? We're going to continue to make these things better. We're going to celebrate these things, aren't we? And in celebration of these things, we're going to improve on them. We're going to expand on them. And, you know, maybe this will catch on, and maybe, you know, but nobody's ever tried it. Nobody's ever had the guts to try it. You know, like as a whole, as a majority, what we're like is somebody who's been jaded in a relationship and afraid to engage in a new one. That's what we're behaving like. So, I mean, we've got to take that leap, guys. You know, that's just my personal opinion, you know, but again, man, it's Einstein. His definition of insanity is applying the same formula over and over again and then expecting different results. We're continuing this perpetual cycle, whereas nobody is, you know, as far as the majority of people goes, we're not in the habit of just focusing and expanding on the good. We're just so focused on stopping the bad. But what if expanding on the good is what stops the bad? We haven't tried that yet. It sounds like I'm fucking sitting up here singing Kumbaya, but I mean, am I wrong? Can that be argued with? Can that fact be argued with? So I don't know, man. So I got this stuff called Voodoo Ranger, New Belgium. It's a Imperial IPA. This was my first one of the night. I don't think I bought a 6-pack, but I don't think I'll drink all 6 of them because I'm trying to diet and cut down and whatnot. But yeah, and I'm grateful that I saw this beer with this really cool label, and I thought, you know what? I think I'm gonna get a 6-pack of that and nurse it. And I'm gonna go live, and then I'm gonna watch some movies or a movie. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch Twilight Zone, because today, supposedly, my cousin, he's a big nerd, one of my favorite people in the world, and he posted that today was actually Twilight Zone Day, National Twilight Zone Day, and so I'm gonna watch a bunch of Twilight Zone episodes when I get done doing this. And yes, this beer is actually very good, considering I bought it at a gas station. It's very good. TCH. But yeah, guys. Oh, I like the 1980s ones too, Caleb. Twilight Zone movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. I absolutely loved it. It's one of those movies. It's one of those few movies that I never, ever get sick of. I think it's great. But guys, for those of you who have signed the petition for justice for Mandy Gorsuch and to get charges brought up, appropriate, according charges brought up onto Zachary Simmons, I appreciate you. And so if you have not signed that petition yet, Breakfast Club fan did drop it again. So please sign it. I would really, really appreciate it. Let's focus on a case now where we actually can make a difference, guys. Yeah, I'm challenging you. I'm challenging all of you. Don't go with what's just popular. Go with the fact that there are real people out there right now who are nobody's listening to them, and they need the people to speak up and demand justice. That's how these things happen. The West Memphis Three would have never gotten released from prison had celebrities not got on, and made a big deal about it. If those documentaries on HBO had not been made, the Paradise Lost series, if those documentaries, that's actually what got the wheels in motion. They made a documentary and it got people's attention. Otherwise, those guys would have just rotted in prison for the rest of their lives for something that they didn't do. This is the power of a community, guys. All I'm asking is that we don't take that for granted, that we responsibly use the power of community. And yeah, a lot of you guys already signed this thing. You guys signed this when I did this back in November. But her family still has not seen any justice. And so I don't know if I can still paste this. Oh no, it's gone. Okay. If you scroll up in the chat, then you'll see that I did drop a couple of times the link to John Crimes's video, and it is that's where you'll find all the facts on on the case, not on the Mandy Gorsuch case, but on the Ahmaud Arbery case. So if you want the facts on the Ahmaud Arbery case, make sure you tune into John Crimes. Make sure you click on his video regarding that. Guys, I'm gonna call it a night. I had a great time hanging out with you guys and talking with you. I appreciate you listening and putting up with my rants. But sorry, I'm still looking over chat here. Yeah, that too, Booze Love. You're right about that. You have to call the prosecutor the case. But the thing is anybody can call the prosecutor of the case, but that doesn't mean that they're going to listen, But if thousands of people are speaking up, then they have no choice but to listen. They have no choice but to listen. Hey, thank you, Breakfast Club fan. I appreciate your help. You did great tonight. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, guys, there's power in community, and collected voices it has strength to it, man. So all I'm asking is that we utilize that. We don't take that power for granted, and we use it. That's all I'm saying. But I appreciate everybody. Thanks so much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends. Have a great night.